Wondering what life is really like on Canada's wild and crazy West Coast? This podcast is all about the people, the places, and Vancouver Island time. Together, we'll explore this island paradise, a combination of ocean, city, and country living. We'll meet the fabulous locals, such as the Fudge Fairy and the Chicken Lady, who have chosen Victoria and Vancouver Island as their home. And we'll learn what makes this place unique and special to those who live here. And now, your host of Vancouver Island Time, Jane Johnston.
Hi, everybody. It's Jane Johnston with the Briar Hill Group at Remax Camosun and host of Vancouver Island Time. I'm here with
Teri Kerr
of
Unstuck Duck Coaching.
And we're going to be talking about the Gordon Head area, which is east of downtown Victoria. It's close to UVic. It's a very popular area, and in terms of real estate, it's the most popular area in Greater Victoria. So how long have you lived here?
I moved here in 2005.
And where did you move from?
We had a little warehouse by Mayfair Mall on Alder Street.
Oh, my last interview was just down on Alder. Great area. It's changed a lot, hey?
Mm-hmm, absolutely. Yeah, definitely.
Was the mall there when you were there?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we bought our first house in 98. And then we sold it in 2005 and moved up here. We wanted more space for our kids.
That was just before the market took off up here.
It was crazy. We bought our first house for $167,000. And then we bought this house for $303,000.
Oh my God. I bought a 2-acre parcel in Metchosin for $230,000 in 1999.
Yeah, that's the best time to buy. Sorry to anyone then.
I know. Well, part of it is knowing when you go into a market, knowing that it's depressed. Like right now, we're going through a bit of a depressed period because it's a bit harder to sell the properties. And so this is the time, I think, when to get in.
Definitely.
It's kind of like buying it. It's kind of like planting a tree. The best time to plant a tree is now. The best time to buy a house is now because it's an investment that over time will go up, especially in a city like Victoria where we have limited land. There's lots of room. There's lots of room for growth here when you compare it to other big cities that we're going to develop into eventually.
Well, that's why we bought this lot, because it's almost a third of an acre. We didn't have that opportunity back then. And it's great for having my kids. We have a sport court in the back, and it's just an amazing larger lot with green space and trees and animals.
And what's the age of your kids?
Now they're 19 and 17. But they were 5 and 3 when we bought.
Did you find that there was a lot to do in this area for kids?
Definitely. The schools that they went to were really great. We went to Torquay and Gordon Head Middle School, and then Lambrecht. Both of them went away to go to school because they're hockey players. So for us, we really moved because of the catchment of the Hockey Association. We wanted to play at the Racket Club, and so this is where we are.
Cool. Well, you have great opportunities out here as well at the University of Victoria, the Vikes summer camps, right?
Mm-hmm. They did do the Vikes summer camps. Yep. And they also did Science Venture up at UVic. We go long ways back with UVic. That's where I moved down here to go to UVic and met my husband there.
Right. And so we have something in common. We both did a master's degree of education. Did you find that valuable, that degree?
Mine was of educational leadership. And for me, I just absolutely love the academics of leadership. And so, yes, I did find it valuable. For me, it took me on a different trajectory than what I was originally planning, which really wasn't much of anything. To be fair, I kind of hopped from job to job. And so when I went in there, I just really realized what kind of leader I wanted to be and what kind of leadership I really respected. And it got me into, kind of a string of events. I ended up out at Royal Roads doing my executive coaching degree so that I can help leaders be better leaders.
Do you find the population of UVic, I don't know what the statistics are, but do you find it a magnet for people moving to Victoria?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's a destination university and it's really gorgeous. I mean, in the spring and the fall, when the seasons change, it's amazing. And it's a great space to meet people, and they have so many different activities you can do on campus. They're great at community outreach as well, like you said about the summer camps. And a lot of people come here and just stay because they came here to go to UVic and realized and fell in love with Victoria and stayed.
Yeah, I came to teach summer camp in 1995, and I just thought I'd come into heaven. I felt like I'm from downtown Toronto, done a lot of camping, a lot of canoeing, and then we're here 20 minutes outside of Victoria, and I can canoe and do whatever I want on the water.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, with Cadborough Bay, you can go down and rent kayaks and rent stand-up paddleboards, and I just love it here. I mean, one of the things about where I live here is it's 20 minutes to everywhere. It's 20 minutes to Costco, it's 20 minutes to downtown, it's 20 minutes to wherever I need to go. And it's not too far. There's not a lot of traffic to get out of here. It's just great.
Just so you know, everybody says that, 20 minutes everywhere.
It's true. They're welcome to Victoria, where you're 20 minutes from everywhere.
Oh, but if you're on the West Shore, it's a far 20 minutes.
But it literally is only 20 minutes to the ferry from me.
It takes me 40 minutes to get to the ferry because I live in the West Shore. Do you find that there is kind of like for people moving to Victoria, because this show is for people who are making the decision whether or not they want to live here? I find that people come to Victoria and they go, I love Fairfield. And then they go up the east side of the highway. So it's Fairfield, Saanich East, up to Central Saanich East side. They're all on the east side, or they transition over to the other side of the highway. Like they don't cross over. People who live on this side stay on this side. People who live on the other side, they don't cross over. Unless they're moving to West Hills from Broadmead.
For me, it was all about, for us, it was about hockey. It was about where we could play hockey and where we wanted to play. And my husband is a coach, and it was important to him that we give our kids what he wanted as far as development. So that's why we ended up at the Racket Club. And, Wanda Fuca is the hockey association out on the West Shore, and it's just growing by leaps and bounds. And we wanted a bit of a smaller feel, so that's why we came here.
I find as well, like you're still got a feeling that you're in nature here, even though you're in one of the biggest areas.
Definitely. Well, our lot is 1/3 of an acre, and a lot of the lots up here are still quite large. Right now I'm looking at Mount Doug, which is absolutely gorgeous. I've trees everywhere. It's green. I can, at any given time, we have 5 or 6 deer in the backyard. Raccoons love our house. Not a bad way. They're good, nice raccoons. They like my cat. They play together.
Really? Seriously?
Seriously. I mean, my cat's not showing up for the video, but she goes and hangs out with all the little, there's a little pack of 3 little baby raccoons, and they just hang out together under the roto.
That's funny, because when my kids were little, when my daughter was born, we had raccoons that were playing we had a boat, rubberized boat, and they would bounce on the boat. I always thought they would go right through it, but yeah, they're quite playful.
They are, absolutely. I mean, we don't feed them intentionally to keep them, but as opposed to our deer. We definitely do give our deer all the apples that don't get eaten or whatever. I've got apples and pears and everything grows in my yard. The blackberry bushes. The only thing that doesn't grow is anything that the deer want.
I find where I live, the blackberry bushes are a bit of I guess the right word would be kind of a scourge. Like they just take over. Do they take over here too?
We only have the one corner, and we just keep them in the corner.
And so you always know it's August here in Victoria when you see people with a bucket on the road picking blackberries just off any random bush, right?
Absolutely. We were golfing Cedar Hill Golf Course, and everybody was backed up golfing because everybody was stopping and eating all the blackberries.
Okay, so what do you do for fun as an adult?
Well, my kids are still, they're starting to not be kids anymore. They're 19 and 17. We still go to a lot of hockey games. We love to go watch the Royals play. I like to spend time with my friends hiking and walking. I walk a lot. I walk particularly or even around the neighborhood. I don't feel like I need to get in my car to go walk somewhere, although there's lots of places in Victoria that you would go do that.
Is that on public trails or on roads?
Public trails. I do both. You know, I love to walk along the beach. I can walk down to Mount Doug Beach right here as well.
And you can climb up Mount Doug.
Yes, there's trails all around, so you don't have to climb all the way up. You can go walk around. The Lochside Trail is a 10-minute walk this way, and then you can walk the Lochside Trail right out to Sydney if you wanted, or ride your bike. I don't personally ride my bike, but we can walk down to the Root Cellar, which is an amazing produce store. Mm-hmm. It's not really
on Mackenzie,
on Blenkinsop and Mackenzie. They have a lot of local produce and great produce. We walk down there and get our groceries, and we can walk anywhere really. There's a lot of different places. It's super. It's 20-minute drive to get yourself to Costco, but it's only a 10-minute walk to the Mount Doug Market or 20 to Root Cellar.
Do you ever go to any of the farms on Blenkinsop?
Not as much on Blenkinsop. I will go out to West Saanich and go out to the farms out there. At Gailey's, though, Babe's Honey is there, and you can take your jars there and refill them, which is pretty exciting if you're thinking about honey, but it's a great reusable resource.
Where do you go to eat out for dinner?
For dinner, our favorite, we go down to Maud Hunter's Pub. For dinner, to be honest, where we are doesn't have a lot of great dinners out, but we have the village at Torquay, which is just the bomb for breakfasts and lunches. It's my favorite place in the world. The village is in several different villages around town, but we have the one here at Torquay.
Favorite meal there?
They're Benicio del Toro, eggs Benny.
Do you ever go downtown from here?
Yep, we'll go downtown. Generally, if we're going downtown, we'll be going for something. So we're going for a show, or we'll go down to one of the restaurants for dinner. I like to walk down along the Songhees Waterway, and I like to just go down and walk around downtown every now and then. It's kind of neat to get down there. And we also host international students, so we'll take them down to show them around. And whenever we have company coming, we'll go down to Swans or whatever and watch the lights on the harbor and everything.
Are you hosting them from UVic or for high school?
We have them from high school. We do the Victoria International High School program. We currently have 2 boys. One is from Austria and one's from Brazil. And I feel like we won the lottery with this one. With these 2, they get along great, and they keep each other occupied. So we love it. And in fact, a lot of places in Gordon Head host international students. We have a lot high international program rate, or whatever the word is there.
High density of international students.
That, yes. It's a very popular program. So Lambrecht has a lot of international students, and so does Mount Doug, and so does Reynolds. So like the people next door, they have 2 students, and there's another family over here that has 2 students. So they all just kind of hang out together, which is great.
And do the students pay you? Is it room and board?
Yeah, we get $9.75 a month for room and board, and we provide meals for them, 3 meals a day. We always set it out at the beginning, like, you know what, you're welcome to the cupboards. So if we're not home for dinner, feel free to make yourself for dinner. I don't have to actually be home to cook them dinner, which is awesome.
I used to be a house parent at Pearson College, and I would have to teach the kids we didn't have to cook for them, although we did occasionally, but would have to teach them things like how to do laundry. Are you finding they're sophisticated or not? They're
pretty good. We have a training period at the beginning every time. Some of them we learn by trial and error, and some of them are, they pick it up really easily. Some of the kids from South America, they generally have someone that lives with them to do all that stuff. So breaking that, I don't do that for you to them is, they're usually, they're happy to learn.
So, and do you have them for multiple years?
Nope. Well, we have had a couple that we've had for several years. These 2 are just here till June. It's usually by semester, so sometimes it's like 5 months, like September till January or January till June. But these 2 have both decided to stay for the full year.
Awesome. What a great way to learn about a new country, hey?
Absolutely. And I was a student. When I was 17, I went to France for a year as an exchange student. So for me, it's like giving back. It's another way to give back. And we've hosted over 40 students over the years.
I used to live with 40 at a time. It was not fun. Actually, I loved it.
I was going to say, my sons go to private school in Saskatchewan, so it's like day camp or summer camp.
For the kids, it is.
Yeah, in minus 40 because they're in Saskatchewan.
Okay, well, thank you for your unique perspective on Gordon Head and specifically the school exchange program. I think a lot of people will find that very interesting. Stay tuned, though. We're going to be back with the Unstuck Duck. Let's find out what that's all about after this message.
Vancouver Island Time is brought to you by the Briar Hill Group at Remax Camosun, Victoria, where we bring local expertise and global presence to your property.
Hi, everybody. I'm back with Teri Kerr of the Unstuck Duck. We're here at Vancouver Island Time. So tell me, first of all, I see a duck in the window. How did you come up with that?
So when my kids were little, my son's favorite book was called One Duck Stuck. It was about a duck that got stuck in the muck. And no matter what she did, she couldn't get unstuck. It was a counting book. So like 2 moose clomped to the duck. No luck, still stuck. So we kind of stuck with that.
You stuck with the duck.
Yeah, no luck, still stuck. So when I decided that I wanted to become a coach and I was identifying my ideal client, I just wanted to help women get unstuck. And it clicked for me and it really resonated. So that's how the Unstuck Duck was born.
Well, it's certainly memorable. That's what you want, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's fun. We get our ducks in a row.
So there are lots of coaches. I interview lots of coaches. How do you differentiate yourself from other coaches? Who is your ideal client?
Well, my ideal client is probably a woman between 40 and 50 that has been through some sort of transition or change. So whether it's a divorce or, even kids leaving or a diagnosis or a trauma where I'm a breast cancer survivor and where they've gone back to work and gone, wow, this is not what I want for my life. This is what there's got to be more to this, more to life than this. But we're all in our routines and how do I make a change and that kind of feeling of being really stuck. So I can help with that. That's what I do is I help people, women in particular, to play bigger in their life.
Do you find that women and maybe some men kind of subvert themselves? They really hold themselves back while their kids are growing. Like I really felt like that with real estate, that I wanted the balance. The balance meant I wasn't able to just go full throttle.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I mean, for me, like I said earlier, I'm a hockey mom, right? So my world has been revolving around, okay, so who's eating, who's home for dinner? Are we on our third meal of the night? And making sure that everything was done and skates were sharpened and, who's on which road trip where and really lost myself in the process. And I think a lot of parents, they do that. They put their kids first and then they just lose track of who they are.
And do you think there's a certain amount of fear then when they go, okay, well, now it's my time, but how do I do that?
Absolutely. There's fear. There's that, oh my gosh, I'm too old for this. I'm too, how could I be 45 and not know how to do this or whatever it is? And, particularly when it comes to someone who's been in a job that's been like a bureaucratic or like a government job, for example, and really going, wow, I've got some skills, but I don't know how to transport that into entrepreneurship, for example. And the way that startups are happening and the social media and the video and all the different things that are happening, it's a little overwhelming, if you haven't been doing it, to learn a whole new skill. So sometimes it's fear, sometimes it's that inner voice, that inner critic that's like, oh my gosh, what are you doing? Who do you think you are? Stepping outside of your comfort zone like that.
I find that, I hired a guy who used to be in the military, and a lot of people retire in their mid-40s from the military, and this is happening, and they have an expectation of salary based on what they were earning in government, and then they come out in the real world. First of all, there is ageism out there, and people don't hire people because, oh, you're 45, I'm going to get maybe 15 years, whereas I could hire a 30-year-old, but they don't realize the wisdom that this person's bringing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I mean, a lot of our skills are transferable, but we've put ourselves into these boxes, like I am a whatever, particularly if it's something like I'm a trade, like I am an electrician. That means I therefore cannot do anything else.
You can be a plumber too.
Well, chances are good. I chose the wrong one there because most of the guys that are super handy in all things, but really being able to define yourself in a different way.
Is it different between men and women?
I haven't worked with a ton of men in my coaching practice, given that I really wanted to focus on the women because I understand that fear and vulnerability of recreating yourself when you're 45. But I think that there's actually one of the big things that I'm seeing a lot of is that imposter syndrome. And in management, for example, if you have a guy that has been a top salesman, and then because he's the top salesman and the oldest, he's now become the manager, but he has no skills in management, right? He shouldn't have been elevated to that. No, but because of the way sometimes organizations are, they go up the ladder that way. And men and women, all people, really, to be fair.
They almost get institutionalized with this is the expectation, so you have to move up there. And then they feel if they don't move up there, they're a failure. But they're not.
Exactly. But they may get moved up there and be a really crappy manager. They really were great at being a salesman. And they don't know how to do anything different. And they think that because, and there's a bit of nostalgia too about how things used to be and getting stuck in that rut of, the technology, the, automation. It takes a hit to your ego sometimes.
I find that in real estate. And actually, when I did my master's degree, what we did, which is an interesting approach, was I was working in government. We designed a program where we had these older teachers who were really good with pedagogy, so they understood how to teach. And then we had these younger teachers who were really good at technology, and we teamed them up so that they could influence one another. And the learning outcomes were what were measured. So the teachers didn't feel the pressure because the learning outcomes weren't on them.
Right. Nice.
Thanks. Yeah. Then they canceled that.
As they do.
Thank you, NDP government. I left because, my heart was in that sort of thing. I love professional development. I do this because I like promoting people and seeing growth and stuff like that. It's very rewarding to me. But the whole mentorship model of tying two people together, I think is a great way of solving that problem and giving both people a leg up because they bring their own skill set to the relationship.
Absolutely. And that's the thing. So mentorship, coaching falls into that as well. A mentor is a little bit different in that you're more advising, whereas a coach is really asking people where they can find that information. Like, what is it that you can bring to the table and what do you know already that you haven't tapped into? Because we all have that. We all know what we're supposed to do. And if not, we know where we can find it. And if not, we know who we can ask that we can know where we can find it.
Yeah. To me, the aha actually comes from inside. It's not from outside.
Absolutely. I mean, it's no different than if someone is, when you start something new and then someone's like, you should do this. And you're like, well, that's not really in line with my values or with my ideal client or what I really wanted. And you find yourself going along on this path that really isn't true to what you wanted for your own path. And, a lot of people of our generation and more the generation kind of older, they just did what they were expected to do and then stuck with it for 40 years, got their watch, retired, and then, never really thought outside the box.
Yeah, I was just thinking another good group for you would be people leaving the workforce and then actually doing what they want to do because they have the resources now.
Well, yeah, and a lot of time it is, even if they don't have the resources, it's breaking through those mental barriers. That's what I really love about coaching, is breaking through those mental barriers that are holding you back. Like, oh, I could never do this, or I'm not creative. We're all creative to a certain degree, and you just haven't tried it yet.
So if you were to, somebody played this game with me about 15 years ago after I got into real estate, take one word that describes you as a person.
Authentic.
Oh.
I know it's a totally overdone word, but for me, even like on my social media platforms, there's nothing I would post that wouldn't come out of my mouth. I'm not going to do something that is against that value.
So the word somebody chose for me was metamorphic.
Oh, that's a nice one too.
Yeah, because if you're going to change, you should commit to the change, right?
Yeah. For me, I'm super creative too, and that was something I never really latched onto until actually it was when I was in treatment that I started doing painting and whatever, and going, wow, I actually can do this. And for me, it was just really, it was a side of me that I don't feel like I would define myself as an artist, but why not? I'm creative in all things. I'm creative in my problem solving. I'm creative in my my ways of thinking and approaching change. So innovative would also fit. Give me another word. Can I keep throwing words at you?
No, I find that too. Like partially, because I do coaching with new realtors, they tell me what they think the problem is. And I'm like, the problem is your mindset.
Absolutely. Have you read Carol Dweck's Mindset? It's a great book, amazing book, and would be life-changing if they actually implemented it into school programs. She talks about how there's a growth mindset and a fixed mindset. And a fixed mindset is when you think that, it's good or bad. It's you have talent or you don't. You succeed because you're smart or you're not. And those kids, like, I skipped a grade when I was little, and I was told I was super smart. And so what happens is when I started to struggle, I was like, well, hang on, I'm supposed to be super smart, so I have to prove myself, and I didn't have the work ethic for that. So then people that's just an example, but kids that are labeled as gifted will then be the ones that don't try. They don't believe that people, and then they'll cheat. They'll, give up. They'll be like, I'm just not even going to try. And that's something that it's devastating for those of us that needed to learn to have a work ethic later on in life.
Yeah, just take the first year of university and they'll fix all of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's funny. I was in a gifted program in high school, and I found a lot of the kids that I worked with, it's true, the knowledge just comes. And I was going to say, here's how I know that I'm in the right profession: when I have the idea and then I find the documentation to support it, as opposed to reading it and then coming up with the belief. And when I worked in education, I worked with a lot of really bright people, and I found that was a differentiator between, it was almost a vision. They're visionaries. Hey?
Absolutely. I look at some of the thought leaders that I follow, and they just blow my mind. Like, when I've read something or seen something and I read it and I just like, oh my gosh, like, I hadn't even thought about it like that. Sometimes when you have a theme going through your life where it's like it starts showing up in different places, it's
pay attention.
Pay attention. I have this theory. It's like sometimes if I'm a tree and something new is about to happen in my life, there'll be a part where it's like a new branch is about to try to pop out of the bark, but I'm trying so hard to keep that bark intact, not realizing that it's something awesome that's going to come. So that kind of itchiness when I start to get up against the edges of my comfort zone, that's for me. It's I pay attention to those moments now, and I never used to.
Yeah, same for me, actually. I used to always think, because I grew up in a family where you have to have a conventional job. Mm-hmm. And so when I left teaching and went into real estate, it was not well received by anybody that I had wasted 7 years of my life and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, well, I have to prove myself. And really, I find as an entrepreneur, and perhaps the hardest thing for people coming out of government jobs or wherever they've been working in a job is understanding that input is measured by your output.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or output is measured by your input.
Yeah, and feedback is only someone else's opinion.
Yeah, although it's hard when you have like a $15,000 commission or something. That's a bit of tough feedback.
Yeah, fair.
And the other part of being an entrepreneur that's hard too is just with the mindset is being positive.
Yep, being positive and really thinking about yourself and catching those negative thoughts in your head that are trying to bring you down or keep you safe. Sometimes it's just trying to keep you safe. That chatty gremlin in your back of your head that's telling you like, you shouldn't do that because you're going to show up or you're going to...
People will see the truth.
Yeah, exactly. They might think outside the box.
Okay, so if people want to transform their lives, how do they get in touch with you?
They can visit unstuckduck.ca. They could call me. It's 250-744-4715.
Okay, and are you on social media?
Absolutely. I am on Facebook at Unstuck Duck and on Instagram at Unstuck Duck, at Twitter Unstuck Duck. My email is theunstuckduck@gmail.com because I didn't think that one through.
Okay, and if you want more information about the Gordon Head area, contact me. I'm Jane Johnston with the Briar Hill Group at Remax Camosun. Have an awesome day, and welcome to the neighborhood.
Welcome to the neighborhood. We hope you have had some insight into West Coast living. If you know of someone or someplace that should be highlighted in our podcast, we love to hear from you. Please go to VancouverIslandTime.com and click on our Connect button. See you next week on Vancouver Island Time with Jane Johnston.